Hello and welcome once again for another EE324 lecture, lecture 10B. We're going to do another example of input-output equations. Okay, so notice that I have drawn here another example. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to define some directions here. You see how I have drawn these arrows at this node. And because again, I'm going to analyze this system based on nodes and loops, right? The Kirchhoff voltage law says the sum of the voltages around a loop, so like this green loop is an example, the sum of voltages around a loop is 0, and Kirchhoff's junction law says that at this at any node, the sum of all of the currents must be 0. So the sum of the currents entering / leaving must be 0. Okay, so the first thing is I can write out the equation for this node A. I'm going to look at this node A. I could have done it just as easily down here at this node, but I'm just going to choose A because that's convenient. And at A, notice that I have one current, this I1. Also, this was pretty arbitrary. I'm going to use capital I's this go around. I think actually capital I's are probably easier to work with, so I'll do it that way. But I have this current I1, and then I have a current IC that's going across the capacitor. And then obviously I have this voltage source here, all connected in this loop. And recall that your author likes to use any current going out of a node as being positive, any current going into a node as being negative. Right? So that means the one I1 is going to be negative because it's coming into the node. So that's what I have written here. And that gives me my junction law. Okay. Now I also have two loops here, so I'm going to have the voltage law. So the first thing is that your author likes, I think I have this correct. Your author likes to say if it comes in the negative out to positive that it's an increase. So notice that this loop, as I go around the loop in the directions that have been defined, that I'm going to be getting positive Vn, which means that the voltages as I go across are going to be dropping from R1 across R1, and also dropping across IC across C. So for that one, it's going to be Vn minus Vr minus Vc is equal to 0, based on how your author defined things. Similarly, notice that I've defined a direction here, right? As I go out of the node and I go across here, well, I can define IL, VL, I can define it to be negative. And if I do that, so let's say this is number 2, minus VL. Then as I go across R1 and C, they're gonna be positive. This is what, R2. This should have been R1. Now this works. Notice that I defined in this loop, as this goes across C here, it decreases, so it's minus Vc. So now that I'm going in the loop this way, I'm going in the opposite direction, which means that it has to be plus, which is what I get here, right? So now I can take these equations. I have equation 1 and equation 2. So equation 1 implies that VR1 is equal to Vn of t minus Vc. So now we found the voltage difference across VR1. And by Ohm's law, these are all linear elements, I should mention. Since these are all linear elements, then by Ohm's law, I can define this to be my voltage difference. So that means VR1 is equal to I. What is the current going across? R1. Well, that's I1 times R1, right? Which is the same thing as saying Vn minus Vc is equal to I1R1. Or, if I want to write out the current entirely, just becomes Vn minus Vc over R1. Okay, so then taking that into account, notice that I had if you remember earlier, I had minus I1, well, plus IL plus IC equal to 0, which means I1 is equal to IL plus IC. And that's going to be, if I substitute that in, this is going to be Vn minus Vc over R1. I guess it's going to make sense if I just leave it with this. So I'll just put it this way. So I get minus Vn minus Vc over R1 plus IL plus IC is equal to 0. From this first thing. Now I have a current that's related to the capacitor, but we know that this is going to be the same thing. Recall that, this is the capacitor, right? This is L, and this is C. So this thing is going to be IC is going to be equal to C times V dot, but in this case, that's just Vc. We've defined this as the current, as the voltage going across C, the voltage drop. So I can also substitute that in here. So now I'm going to get minus V. I'm going to actually write it over this way. So it's going to be Vc over R1 plus IL plus CVC dot equal to Vn over R1. I'm just doing this because this is my input, right? This is my input for the equation. So let's call this thing now equation 1. And Now I can also define things across the second loop, right? For instance, my current IL as it comes across here, notice that there's no other sources or anything like that. So that means my current is going to have to just be IL here. That means that my voltage across R2 is going to have to be equal to IL times R2. This is again by Ohm's law. Okay. So my second equation, the other thing that I need is, of course, that VL is equal to L times IL dot. Right? We already know this to be true. Should make a dot here. We already know this to be true for an inductor, right? So using those two facts, I can write equation 2 as follows. I get VC minus LIL dot minus R2 times IL. That comes from this, right? And that has to be equal to 0. So what I can do now, I'm just going to rearrange everything. So I'm going to multiply by R1, for instance, in equation 1. But I'm going to rewrite these equations. So it's equation 1 is R1C VC dot plus VC plus R1 IL equal to Vn of t. And equation 2 is going to be LIL dot plus R2IL minus VC is equal to 0. So now I have two. Notice that this is actually kind of convenient because I've covered both of the loops. I've covered all of that stuff, and I have two equations, and they're both first order differential equations, which makes this very easy for dealing with, say, input-output equations or things like that. So what I'm going to do, I think the most convenient thing to do is perhaps to solve for VC. Or solve for IL and substitute that in here. So let's do that. So we'll have L times D plus R2 all times IL is equal to VC, which means that IL is equal to VC over LD plus R2. And doing that, I can substitute that into equation 1. So now I'm going to get R1C VC dot plus VC plus R1 times this whole thing, VC over LD plus R2. And that's going to be equal to Vn. Now I can do my normal thing, which is multiply by LD plus R2. By the way, this should have been, I should have written this as a D, right? Makes my life easier to write it with a D here because then I can multiply. So I get R1 C L D squared VC plus R1 R2 C VC D, there should have been a D in there, DVC plus L D VC plus R2 VC plus R1 VC is equal to Vn. Sorry, I have to multiply that, right? It's equal to LdVn plus R2Vn. There we go. I think I've multiplied everything. So that means that I get R1 CL VC double dot plus R1 R2 C plus L times VC dot. I just combined these two. Plus R1 plus R2 times VC equal to LVN dot plus R2 Vn. Okay? And that's our input-output equation. It's not too bad. Hope to see you again soon.